On today's show of Authentic Living, we're having a special sit down with one of my really good friends, Renee Ruiz. She's a former Mrs. America. We call her our Wonder Woman. She's a powerhouse, but behind all of that power and that beauty, there's been a lot of pain. And I brought her on today. She's a life coach and she's a mentor to so many women. And I want you to hear her heart, her journey, her testimony, her struggles, and how God's really equipped her to walk through them and to grow through them. So you don't want to miss this inspiring and empowering episode of Authentic Living. Hey guys, Courtney Shaw here. Listen, I'm sitting down with a remarkable woman. She's a good friend of mine and definitely been a confidant in times of trouble as well. Renee Ruiz, she's a former Mrs. America. She's married to Dr. Ruiz and she's just an incredible woman. She's sitting down with me today to talk about how we can overcome life's obstacles, because the truth is we all go through them, whether we post about them on social media or talk about them. Behind the scenes of pretty images, there's a lot of pain. So with that pain, don't allow it to paralyze you, but we want you to turn it into purpose. So Renee, it's so great to be with you today.
Thank you for having me, Courtney. Always good to be with you.
It is always good to be with you. So I want you to kind of go back a little bit and tell me, because we're at the beautiful Westgate Lakes property today, and just the Seagulls have provided us a beautiful space just to have this conversation. When did you first become Mrs. America? When did that journey start for you?
Well, that was a few years ago, 20 to be exact.
Wow.
We actually celebrated in September, the 20th anniversary, I became Mrs. Florida. And what's interesting is that I began my journey with the Seagulls as well, with Jacqueline. She was a former Mrs. Florida.
That's right, yeah.
And she was my director at Mrs. Florida. So I competed and I did not win the first year either. So I've heard all these other stories.
That's
I know
so
in other
true.
episodes, yes.
Yeah.
So I did not win the first time. I was first runner-up. I came back. I won Mrs. Florida. At the time, actually, Jackie wasn't my director when I won, so which was kind of funny when we ran into each other. She said, it figures, you know, you win when I'm not the director, but that's when it started, our relationship with her, and then I went on to win Mrs. America and traveled the country, representing, of course, my state, representing America, and of course the sponsors, and my platform, which was mentoring at the time.
That's incredible. You know, and your platform has stayed with you throughout your lifetime, you know, 20 plus years later. So talk to me a little bit about your passion for life coaching and where that began.
Well, honestly, it began when I was in high school. I started with the dance program. I was one of the captains of the dance program. And, you know, when you're a captain, of course, you're responsible for your teammates and responsible for making sure everyone's uplifted and basically a part of the program. And so it started there. And then I did mentoring as well in high school. So I would go into elementary schools and I'd work with the elementary school kids. And mentoring was really important. Then I graduated. I took over the dance program that I was a captain of, and I coached them, and we had an amazing, amazing time together. And then I won Mrs. Florida, Mrs. America, moved to Tampa, I'm sorry, not moved to Tampa, moved to Merritt Island, and I actually started another dance program there. So basically the mentoring and the coaching has been with me since, gosh, 89, 88. I've loved it. It's just been a passion. It's just natural for me. I've always felt really comfortable kind of putting myself out there, whether I'm wrong or right, just giving my advice and helping people be the best they could be. And in competition in sports, it really is all mental.
I want to talk a little bit too, because, you know, a lot of people look at you and you're stunning. You're a tall, gorgeous woman. I call you my Wonder Woman, but not just for aesthetics, but also just for the power that you really walk in your everyday life. What has life looked like for you after Mrs. America? Because you've gone through a lot of devastating things. And today I want to really kind of hit on compounding grief, right?
Yes.
You know, sometimes you have seasons where you have, whether it's a job loss, a death of a loved one, maybe you're battling a wave of depression, you know, just something external that came on you that caused that. But then there's those seasons of life that it's just like a wave. It just one after the other, it just keeps hitting you. And, you know, a lot of people get crushed by those waves and they don't know how to respond. They react, whether it's through taking drugs or alcohol or just totally checking out. I know that suicide right now is at an all-time high.
It is.
So what was that looking like for you when all of these different life situations started happening?
Well, I think just like anybody else's life, you kind of just are doing what you can do, doing your best, living your life. I did go through some initial stuff shortly after I won Mrs. America. I did go through a divorce, and that was very difficult, of course, the father of my twins. And starting life on my own, I really never knew how to truly be on my own. I met him when I was really young. I was 17 when I met him.
Wow.
So I never had to really experience life. And for me, it was a challenge. You know, I was not only, you know, obviously a wife, now no longer a wife, I was a mom. And being a single parent and trying to be a single parent in a world where I never knew how to be alone. So that was a big challenge, but I overcame it, of course, and my tenacity. You know, I have that part of me. I've always been a tomboy, you know.
Yeah.
And so I think it's that sheer tenacity that just basically inside of me said, I'm going to make it. I don't care what I have to do. I'll live in a trailer. I'll live wherever I have to live. I'm going to make it. And I did. I really did. And I made my way. And I think for a short period of time, I think I probably coasted for just a bit, and just living life, taking care of my children, and being who I was. And then I kind of went through a period where I really didn't know who I was. I had been, you know, obviously a wife, I had been a mother, and I never really took time to be me and find out what I want, what I liked. So I started kind of delving into the coaching, into the deeper levels of coaching, more of the personal development, more of kind of working on myself, discovering the things that I needed to learn and go through and grow through. I had also suffered some experiences when I was younger. I went through sexual trauma when I was younger.
Wow. So just being able to confront that, you know, and I think you're hitting on something right now, because I think in life, especially as women, we can get so focused on others, right? It's in our nature, our DNA to serve and to nurture and to build up and make sure everything's okay and everything's hitting on all cylinders and everybody has what they need. But then when life hits us and things kind of seasons transition or a tragedy happens, it kind of forces us to slow down and really look within. And so here you are at this point of your life, you have these beautiful twins, you realize you had this grit and tenacity that you could, you know, you probably grew up, you know, with your little ones, and now you're going, what is my purpose? And then maybe some past pain starts bubbling up, and you know, and there's certain triggers, right? Whether it's anger or isolation or shutting people out. And so where were you at that point when you started to really dive deep and confront?
Well, I think I initially went into the coaching program. Basically, I thought I was going in to help other people, you know, to further develop my skills. And I really, really wanted to go into coaching. And I started my radio show, and I really was very passionate about it. And what I realized is that I needed it more for me than anybody else. It was
Isn't that something?
Yeah, it was so incredible. I thought, oh, I'm going in here, I'm going to learn all these skills, and I'm going to be really able to extend myself further than I ever have and help other people. And going through their process, it was a year-long process of coaching, being coached, group coaching, one-on-one mentor coaching, and I had no idea the depths of work that I had to do on myself.
It was intense,
It was very intense. It was very intense, but thank God it prepared me for what was to come. You know, we've gone through a lot of really difficult things. Most recently, of course, you know, with my daughter, you know, with her addiction, you know, it's been a several-year process with her. It's very devastating to find something like that in your own family. You never expect it. Especially because of the type of family that she grew up with, myself, my ex-husband, my current husband, you know, very loving, very supportive, and she just lost her way, and she went through also some difficulties, some sexual traumas and other things that she never dealt with, that we never knew of. And so instead of her dealing with it, she turned to drugs. I mean, you know, she of course tried little things here and there when she was in school, but she was not your typical person you would expect for this to happen. I mean, she graduated magna cum laude from college. She was on the dance team, theater. She went to college on scholarship. So you would never expect someone in that seems so well adjusted to fall prey to that. But I think it's very important because all that preparation of what I went through led me to that point where I could handle what she was going through, you know, as a family member. It's one thing for the person to go through it, but the family is devastated. It's something you can't do anything about. You have no control. All you can do is love and support them. And then, of course, you know, just like any parent, it's the worry, it's the fear, it's all the things that you go through.
And you hurt for your children too. No matter how old they are, you still hurt for them, and you have that compassion. So here you guys are at this point. You're at this crossroads, and you know, when a trial like that hits the family, I mean, you guys are the kind of family where you guys pull in. Yes. You know, I know a lot of families just sometimes fall apart when trials happen, but you made a decision to confront this head on, wrap your arms around your daughter, and you guys really rallied around her. And so what has that process been for her, the healing process of, first of all, becoming free from the toxic side of the addiction, but then there's the emotional and the mental and the physical healing as well?
Yeah, I think it was much more, I guess, surprising to me, the depths of addiction. I really didn't understand it, and I had experienced it very to a small degree with my brother. One of my brothers had an addiction to cocaine.
Oh, wow.
When I was younger, yes. And I didn't see the majority of it because there would be periods of time where he wasn't actually a part of the family, where he would disappear. So I knew we had that aspect, and of course I had other family members that had alcoholism, and I never really thought of it in that respect because I'm not a person who has an addictive personality, so I never felt ever like I was ever in danger of anything like
and
that.
It's almost hard to relate to, right?
Yeah, it was very hard
when
to
you
relate
are
to.
able to press through something, whereas somebody else, they're just completely paralyzed by it.
And so I didn't have a full understanding of what addiction was until this happened to my daughter. And we did go through the process with her. She went through several rehabs. I mean, you know, it's one of those things where people don't realize everything changes. Your brain is changed completely. It takes 2 to 3 years for your brain to heal from all the damage that happens to your body. People don't realize addiction isn't something that you choose.
Right.
It's an escape. It's a way that you don't know how to deal with whatever you're dealing with, and you don't realize the depths. Once you get into it, your body starts changing, your chemicals change, your body doesn't produce hormones that it needs, the endorphins, to feel good. So when you used to feel good, now that you've gone through this process of your brain going through the chemical dependency, it doesn't produce the hormones. So when you try to get off of it, you feel worse than you ever did.
Absolutely, and there's that detox, and that's where so many people fall to the wayside, is going through that process, and then they go back. So how long has it been now? You said a 2-year journey that you've been on with your daughter?
She has been actually, for 6 months now, she is clean and sober.
Praise God.
Yes, praise God, She's had many relapses.
And that's the reality of what we're talking about today. When you're dealing with compounding multiple things, you know, I think a lot of times in our faith journey, we want to believe God to heal us instantly and to set us free instantly. But it truly is a process. And so I know that it's been a personal mission of yours, obviously now with your daughter, but you've really come alongside the Seagulls and their foundation, Victoria's Voice. So why don't you talk a little bit about that, because they went through a very traumatic loss as well.
Yes, they did. And obviously, like I told you, Jackie and I started a relationship back over 20 years ago, and that was the first time I met Victoria. She was, I think she was a little over 1 year old. Jackie had her there at the pageant, so, you know, I've known Victoria since she was a little girl, and, you know, unfortunately, she did, again, you know, fall prey to, you know, experimenting with drugs, not able to deal with certain situations that were going on in her life. Which I think a lot of kids are going through. I think they're experiencing a lot of exposure that we never had growing up.
It's coming on in an onslaught, and it's so fast.
I mean, we could get away from things. I mean, when we went home from school, we went home. You know, we had the telephone, and you know, who calls on your home phone? Nobody calls, and no one's bothering you. Whereas kids nowadays, they're just exposed, just overexposed, really, to everything. Every trauma that happens, they know about it. Wars, whatever's happening, we had no exposure like that, so we didn't have the stress that the kids have nowadays. But Victoria unfortunately fell prey to you know, addiction as well, and unfortunately she lost her life to it. And you know, as devastating as it is, it just you can't imagine, because we have both sides of it, and Jackie and I talk about it. You know, about being a parent of a child that has an addiction, and on one respect, you know, she shared with me. She said, you know, as horrible as this has all been, she said, it's over for us. We don't have to go through it anymore. She says, for you, this is a daily thing. This is,
still
you know,
in the fight,
at any moment, because, you know, relapses happen all the time, and it's a day-by-day situation. And you know, she says, I can't imagine, you know, every night your phone, you know, anytime it goes off, you know, your heart is racing. She says, I did that very, very short time. She said, and just for people that are still going through that, you know, she just, you know, she has such a big heart. She feels for those people as well. And you know, their loss is tremendous. A tremendous loss.
You're going through the situation with your daughter battling addiction, but then at the same time, you're having family members pass away, and all kinds of things are happening. So what does that look like for you when you're already spiraling, you know, just trying to focus in, making sure your daughter's okay, and then now you have to step up and find some type of strength in you to encourage your families when a loved one passes.
I think it's just like anything, you know, when they say the saying, when it rains, it pours, and that's the reality. And I think that's the reality right now for a lot of people. I mean, obviously, I know, you know, we've been going through a lot. And I think it just helps you to focus on what you have. Yeah. The gratitude for the life that you have, the moments that you have, the relationships that you have. And I think it really takes your focus off of the world as a whole and brings a very narrow focus to, you know what? Yes, these things may be happening in my life, but I also have amazing things. I have my health. I have my, you know, my family members. I have my loved ones. I have my friends. And so I think it really kind of just almost it's like a whiteboard. It almost kind of like wipes away all the things that weren't important. Yeah. You know, the things that you thought are important, the goals that maybe you had set, which is fine. It doesn't mean you have to give up your goals. Right. But I think it just brings it back into focus how precious life is. And I don't think we do it often enough, realizing every single moment how precious it is. And these experiences call that into mind. These experiences wake you up, you know, in a sense. True. And, you know, I think sometimes we need it because we take for granted so much.
I believe that. And
I really do.
I think there's so much pressure too for further, faster, more, better, greater, now, instant, and especially this generation coming up and raising two young children. That's a major concern of mine. That, and even with me, because I have such a heart to serve, it's like, when are we going to pull back and be present for those moments? Because your children could be slipping away right in front of you, and you don't even realize it because your priorities are off. So what are some tools that you could share with our viewers to help equip them when they are in that traumatic season?
We've made it 100% of the times of all the difficult things we've gone through. We're still here.
I'm alive.
So we're alive. Yes. We've made it through every difficult thing that we have gone through. And just recognizing that and realizing, yes, no matter how bad it's been in our past, we're still here, we're still moving forward. And there's so much to gain. And I tell people there's never anything lost if there's a lesson in it. What can I gain from this experience? Is it more compassion? Is it that I need to be more patient? Is it that I need to pay more attention to the people in my life? There's so many different lessons if we are very focused and realizing that there is something there to gain. Because I really think that in all situations there is no loss. There really isn't. So I think that's important. Obviously, surrender is hugely important. That has been my saving grace. I have told God, I can't tell you how many times I've said, okay, I'm done. This is enough.
I give up. I'm quitting.
I'm ready for the break. I'm ready to coast. It's been a several-year process of compounding, you know, issues one after the other. You know, major things that maybe people would have one of these things happen in their life.
In their lifetime, right?
In their lifetime, and just compounding one after the other. And I laugh sometimes because I just say, okay, God, you're testing me because this is what I teach. Yeah. And so you're testing me whether or not I believe it. And I do believe it. And I keep telling him, I believe it. I believe it. You don't have to test me anymore. But the reality is that I know that every moment that I wake up in my eyes and I see that, you know, I'm here on this earth, I have gratitude, I'm thankful for the breath, and I don't think we realize that enough. We don't appreciate those things. So before I wake up, I start saying my thank yous.
That's a good way to start the day.
Thank you for my breath. Thank you for the, you know, thank you for this gorgeous, you know, weather. Thank you for, you know, the food on my plate. Thank you for all these things, and I just start rattling them off before I even get out of bed. I just start thanking, and then if you start your day with that attitude of gratitude, which is of course a very familiar phrase, it puts you in a mindset, because we can spiral one way or another. Very easily. Quick. You stub your toe, and then it hurts so bad, and then you bump your head, and if you don't realize it, you're actually attracting more of the energy you're putting out. So if you're starting out in a negative attitude or depressed or whatever, guess what? You're going to find more things to be depressed about or to be mad about. So when I get into those moments, I literally stop myself.
Intentionality,
I shake myself off and I say, okay, enough is enough. I know where this is going to lead. I had it happen way too many times. It's stopping right now. I'm grateful for what I have in my life. I'm happy for this. I play music.
Setting the atmosphere is really key. And so, you know, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's really combating that grief with gratitude. That is such a powerful weapon to posture yourself to have the right perspective. And the other thing, you know, you're talking about too is that surrender, that faith. Well, the only way our faith can strengthen is under resistance. It's the same thing with a muscle, right?
Yes.
A muscle will not grow until it's broken down, and then there's that season of building up. So what final words of encouragement would you have for somebody watching right now that is at that point where they're just hopeless? They're at the bottom of that pit. They can't see their way out. They don't see the light. What are your final words for them?
Well, I would say, obviously, have a support system. That's important. You know, connect with other people who may be going through what you're going through. Don't keep it inside.
That's right.
It is never healthy. It will turn inward and it will turn ugly. It turns into disease. It turns into all kinds of problems. So you don't want to do that. and you're not alone. That's the reality of none of us, I don't care what we have gone through in our life, none of us are alone. There are other people who have gone through it or are going through it right now. Surrender if you have faith. If you don't have faith, you don't necessarily, if it's not God, maybe it's the universe. Maybe you just say, you know what, I trust that the universe is taking care of me. It really is about you just letting go and knowing that you don't have control and being okay with that.
And that's the first big step, is to release.
Yes.
And I think when we finally get to that point where we release this overwhelming burden of responsibility that we have to fix everything and everyone and ourselves, that we can receive peace that passes all understanding. We can receive joy unspeakable even in the midst of utter devastation. And I think that's authentic faith, is when we truly trust when everything in front of us says not to.
Yes.
Wow, Renee. I mean, we could go on. I think we need a round two, girl, because there's just so much that we could dive into. But I also want to make sure we have the website up for Victoria's Voice, and also your website. You're doing a cool project too. I want you to land on that, Soul Sister Society, which is all about community. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, what I wanted to do was extend the relationships that I have already with my girlfriends, with you, and all of my close girlfriends. I've gained so much joy, so much support, so much love from the sisterhood. And even pageantry, of course, is a great sisterhood. And so I wanted to extend it to allow women who maybe don't have relationships like the relationships that I have to be able to develop it. So I created, right now it's an online platform on Instagram and Facebook, the Soul. Basically what I do is inspirational messages daily, different topics, talking about, surrender, talking about, yesterday's was about celebrate our wrinkles, celebrate our gray hair, celebrate everything that we are.
Changes.
We earned it. Yes. Celebrate all of that. And it's really just about creating a support group. It will be moving on to another platform where we'll be having live events, workshops, gatherings, different ways for people to have resources, coaching, some virtual coaching, meditations, things to give you resources to get through the difficulties, to help move you to that next level. And so I really it's just a passion project that I love. Of course, I am working as well with other programs for the addiction recovery, Victoria's Voice, but I'm also part of another foundation called the Now Matters More Foundation, and they actually help place people in rehabilitation centers who can't afford it.
Yeah, and that's what's really that missing link too. It's one thing when you've confronted the issue, but now what is the next step? And there really needs to be medical help and emotional support for the family, because they can't fight the battle all on their own.
No, absolutely. And that's the important message. You're not alone. Don't try to do it alone.
That's right. Well, Renee, I'm so grateful for your friendship and your example. You are my Wonder Woman.
Thank you.
And I'm just excited for all that's in store for you. And I know that God has given you beauty for your ashes. It's so evident. So we hope you were inspired today by this Authentic Living show. I just want to speak a blessing over you right now. If you're listening and you're in that dark place, listen, never give up hope. Listen, there is hope for your breakthrough. Things will change. You may not feel it, but I promise you, when you step out on faith, your feelings will follow. Have a blessed day.